Welcome to the GrowthPro Edge. We're here to help scale your business, build stronger teams, and sharpen your leadership skills. I'm your host, Denise Killian with the GrowthPro Group and Trainertainment, and today we're going to be talking about loyalty. How do you get customers to come more frequently to your location? And we're going to be talking about that and a little bit of AI and how AI can help you do that and make sure that you're getting the information that you need in the right place. So to cover both of these big, important topics, we're going to be speaking with the one and only Brett Sheridan with Roller, who is going to share some amazing information from Roller's new Pulse report about what customers are really looking for. So let's get ready and sharpen our edge. Hello, Brett, and welcome to the GrowthPro Edge.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
Listen, I am excited to have this conversation and to dig into all of the findings in this year's Pulse report. But first, tell us a little bit about you and what you do for Roller.
Absolutely. My name's Brett Sheridan. I'm a general manager here at Roller. I've got a really unique role. I'm an ex-operator. I've been on the operations side of businesses for over 30 years, so pretty much most of my life. And I've come into Roller really to sort of bring that operator viewpoint into Roller. So I help a lot of our customers, certainly go around visiting a lot of our customers globally, just to try and make sure they're making the most of the platform, but also help them out with their operations. And then on the other side, I have a small foot in product. So make sure we're building the right products for the operators to make sure it works operationally as well as effectively for their business. So quite a unique role. But the beauty about the role is I get the chance to visit these amazing operations from the small mom and pop sort of attraction operators right through to the large enterprise. And I tell you what, I've seen some amazing stuff over the last 12 months or so, and I'd love to share some of that with you here today.
So that is exactly what we're going to be talking about, right? Is the changes that are happening in this industry and with consumers, right? With our customers and how they interact, what their expectations are. Certainly, there's a lot of economic changes that have happened in the past 12 months. There's a lot of factors that have impacted how people are making decisions on how they spend their money. And so that's one of the things that's really exciting about this report that Roller does every year. So for those that aren't familiar with it, tell us what this Pulse report is.
Yeah, we do it every single year, and we go out and survey around 1,500, 2,000 guests. So essentially people who have visited attractions in the past year. And we go out there and ask a range of different questions, really, from, how often do they visit, etc., how do they use AI and those sorts of things. Really just to get a pulse, if you like, on what guests are feeling, how they're going to attractions and engaging with attractions. And it's really powerful because we get then to see the sort of the end customers' thoughts on what's happening in the attractions industry. And also then we as Roller, we get to also see the data in our platform and really understand and sort of marry those two viewpoints. And we come out with some incredible sort of stats, which we might talk about today.
We absolutely are. Funny you should say that. Funny you should say that. So I want to start with, I think for most operators and no matter what industry they're in right now, is figuring out consumer spend because there's been some significant changes on how people are spending their money. They're maybe holding their pennies a little more preciously than what they did 2 years ago, perhaps. And how do we continue to attract those people and bring them in the doors to be our customers again? And loyalty is one of the big targets that I want to kind of highlight here with the Pulse report. And, one of the biggest findings that I saw that kind of leapt out at me was that 41% of guests regularly visit a location, but don't have a membership status. What does that tell you?
Well, it tells quite a bit, doesn't it? It means, that they haven't been either engaged by the attraction. The attraction may not have a loyalty program or a membership program in place, or it's not being promoted as heavy as it possibly should be. I remember I ran a wonderful attraction here in Sydney called the Luna Park on Sydney Harbour here. It's iconic. But we quickly realized that, we had a tremendous opportunity for people who used to come regularly but seemed to be paying for sort of full price for a ticket. They didn't always bring their friends and relatives. So we put in a season pass, a membership program to really try and leverage that. And it seemed to work. But I think the stat on the Pulse report says that a lot of people aren't doing that, which is crazy because the membership programs are very easy to install, but also the loyalty programs are fantastic to put inside. So I've also got another stat here for you, Denise. When we asked them to pick the most single appealing membership model, 41.5% chose unlimited visits for the fixed monthly or annual fee. Now, an indicator right there of how to structure your membership or loyalty program. Look at frequency, okay, and open it up for them. And that compared to sort of other things like over points based, there was about 18% chose that as a favored method, or a set number of visits, there was 16%, and family and groups passes were 15%. So this means some membership programs really should be going for that frequency side of things. And that's a powerful stat to look at.
And, there's a lot of conversation around with a membership or a loyalty program of uh, if we can get more people in the door to spend money, fantastic. There are some people that and operators that I've talked to through this problem as well of the membership question of, well, but what we're seeing is the kind of people that come more frequently aren't spending more money when they get there, right? Instead
Yeah.
of they'll come more often, but they're not gonna maybe do an add-on or maybe buy some food or a drink or do more than one thing. So the overall spend is down a little bit. And then
Mhm.
there's also the question of the wear and tear on the actual equipment for depending upon the attraction. What are the thoughts about how to sort of counteract that, or does one outweigh the other?
No, a great question, Denise. And again, I've been through this in my operations before as well. We actually ended up at Luna Park capping our memberships. But a big part of that was, we capped it. We created a demand, if you like, for that membership. So we're able to then build, I guess, a better margin into that product by saying there's a limited amount of memberships available. So there was that sort of scarcity that we labeled. But also the other side is that we built value into the membership. So, and this is a good thing for any operation, is if you build value, and that could come through on a different range of items. Could be a discount on your food and beverage. You could have sort of heavy discounted days where say, listen, food and beverage is 40% off for all members that come in, Tuesday and Wednesday, etc. Those sort of things. So really drive that in park spend. A really interesting thing is one of the big theme parks here in the Gold Coast in Australia have offered free meals if you come into the park. Now that's we're watching it very closely. It's a company called Dreamworld. It's a large theme park, and they're offering free food and beverage on a membership program, which is incredible. But what they're seeing is incredible stats and uplift. Now, they may not be paying for the food, but they're coming into the park more and more often. And they have other items that they're able to commercialize around that. So it really, I totally agree with the stat that, sort of people do spend less when they come into park, but you can drive that through either scarcity or you drive it through, the ability to, I guess, encourage them to spend in other areas.
And that's the question. Those are the questions of how to balance, right? What do you think that some mistakes that operators make when creating a loyalty program? Where do you find those kind of holes or opportunities to make them better?
Yeah, the mistake on a loyalty program is you can overthink it. All right. So it can be quite daunting when you go in to say, what am I doing? What am I giving off? Am I doing it points? Am I doing cash based? And what sort of value am I giving away in my business? Is it too much margin? Really simple is best when it comes to loyalty programs. It really is. It truly is. I think we're all a member of a loyalty program somewhere, right? Whether it's an airline, whether it's a hotel, whatever it may be. And you sort of see those programs, it's really, really clear of, okay, I'm earning this amount of points if I purchase that product. Really simple. So keep it simple is probably my thinking on that. And there's also understand what you're using it for. So if I was to patch together an entire sort of program that includes something like frequency of visit. So in Roller, we have multi passes. So you can pay for, get 4 visits for the price of 2 over the next 2 months, that type of thing. So that's what we mean by multi pass. So that dials up your frequency. So you want to get them back as often as possible. And your data will start to show you, okay, they're coming back, and we can see by the 3rd visit, they're really hooked on our venue. They're really engaged on it. Then you offer a really good value membership, sort of on the end of it, which isn't just about frequency. It's also about the value that you give. And then you overlay that with a wonderful thing, loyalty. And every time they visit you, they might collect a few more points. So you got those 3 tools available to you to really catch everyone: frequency, value, and then amazing loyalty component. So that's how you can, but again, structure it really, really simply is my point, Denise.
Yeah. So, some programs have a one-time fee. Some programs have a monthly fee. How do you kind of distinguish between those two? Which would you say would be the more not only make the most sense for the business and trying to drive that frequency, but
Mm.
also looking out for the customer as well?
Yeah, it really does depend on what vertical you're operating in, right? So if you're for family entertainment through to theme parks through to aquariums, it's all very different. We're all obviously used to season passes on the larger operations, right? Water parks, those sorts of things. But what we're seeing on that side is they're putting in a season pass, and it might be a one-off cost, if you like, but you have the chance to pay it over a series of 3 or 4 months. So really, it's turning into a monthly membership. All right, you're just paying for it each time, and that means it makes the pocket, the money out of the pockets a lot less. It makes the purchase price a lot more attractive, but I still get the whole season benefits, right? So you just start to see that, and we're seeing that in the platform, being quite a powerful tool. We've also seen a lot of the FE sort of side of things. Some of them, I was talking to them actually. I was at IATP, a conference not too long ago, and some operators have gone from 3 months just to 1 month memberships. All right, and you can renew each month as you go. And they saw quite a large uplift in terms of people joining and converting into that 1 month as opposed to the 3 month. Now, if you think about it, I asked them the question, why have you seen that? And they say, hey, first of all, obviously the price point's a yes price point. So sure, particularly in times like now where things are a little bit tighter. But also, they couldn't forecast, or the guests couldn't forecast what they might be doing in 3 months' time. We're planning a holiday, we might be away, or won't make the most of that membership. So they were converting a higher conversion at the 1 month, and then you have to make sure that that becomes reoccurring. They just say yes each month just to recur it. So they saw that uplift move to around 4.1 sort of months of people would join on the monthly membership as opposed to the 3 month. So that's a unique standout stat. We haven't validated that on any research, but that's anecdotal coming from operators to say, well, they're trying different things. So my point here is really depends on where you are and what you're trying to achieve. But the good thing is you can try different things, particularly if you've got a couple of venues, might try one thing in one venue and one in another, or join them together under the single program. So it's up to you.
Right. No, that's a good idea. Right. Because there's just so many options and there's so many trigger points. But I think for a customers, you mentioned we're all a part of some kind of a loyalty program.
Mm.
And whether it was, I remember I used to do this for the movies back when you would go to an actual movie. Remember that? And,
Yeah.
I had a membership through AMC that you got a discount off of popcorn and sodas or whatever, right? And and then there's the membership where you forget that you have, like maybe for some of us, the gym, and you just automatically get charged this money every month and you're not using it. And then to cancel it becomes this insanely frustrating experience that then puts you off of the place for forever.
Yes.
So balancing those two things, I think, becomes really key questions that you need to ask yourself when you're creating any sort of a membership program.
They sure are. You've got to make it easy to sort of unsubscribe, right? And or very clear of what you're subscribing to. I think you bang on. Sort of if you make that really difficult, and those days are gone. Where you try and find how do I get out of this program. It's more around great. Get out of the program. This is really easy. Would you like to look at this other, part of the program that might be better for you? That might be a monthly or might be something different. So yeah, super, super critical, Denise, to make sure it's easy to get out of.
Yeah. Also, those days may be gone in Australia. They're not in America, baby.
Oh, had they? I know.
Can y'all come teach American gems about this? That would be
Oh,
great.
it's that, and that, you hit on something, Denise. It's different all the way around the world. I spent a lot of time in Europe with our European customers as well as our American friends and APAC as well, and it's all so different. But really, if you think about it, what were you trying to do, especially now when things are tight, and they are tight in every single country around the world. I'll tell you that.
Yep.
That repeat visitation is costs a lot less than acquiring new customers. You've already got a loyalty base, and that stat we spoke about, the 41% stat of people not being on a program. If you're to do something today, is real. If you haven't got a program, go in there and look at it. Build one out, make sure you can work out a way of getting those customers back because they're going to be the people that support your business long term.
Yeah, absolutely. And another stat that was to support exactly what you just said was that 84.47, can we just call it 85? Let's just call it
Yeah, go
85
for
between us.
it.
85% of guests say that a loyalty program will influence where they book, of where they're going to go and what they're going to
Mhm,
do. And so
mhm.
if you don't have that loyalty program, then you're leaving money on the table. But with a loyalty program and how you book, it's a perfect transition into AI, and how people are booking today is really, really, really different.
Agreed.
So I want to kind of enter into AI. And your report said that 54% of guests have already used an AI assistant
Mhm.
to help book or plan an attraction visit. Is that surprising to you?
It is and it isn't. This is the thing. I think like yourself, Denise. We're always on one of the LLMs, sort of Chat GPT or Gemini or whatever it might be. But but the fact that the adoption, what I'm surprised at is the adoption is so fast. So that half of search now, half of research phase of finding something is via AI, or the AI bots are out there grabbing the information on the web. That it's sort of surprising at the speed of it, but the fact that people are doing it, I'm not that surprised about it because it's so ubiquitous now, and it's quite easy to find something using AI tools.
So with that statistic and what you just said,
Mm,
you're that really ultimately means that a lot of people may be presented with your location, with your
mhm,
operation, without ever having known the name of it or visited in person.
mhm,
That it's just information that whatever bot you used, whether it's chat or Claude or whomever, whatever, is presenting to you
mhm.
based on information on your website. What does that tell operators that they need to be doing with their website?
Yeah, yeah. It's like the old days. I'm showing my grey hair here. The old days of SEO, right? When the web came on, and how do we optimize for the web, and it was keywords and those sorts of things. That's not too different to now, but the LLMs are doing things a little bit different. And they call it geotargeting now, and it's about they not only look at your website, they look at how trustworthy it is. They look at other portals, that where your web or your product might be mentioned is the big thing on that one. It's not just the assets you control; it's the assets that the web or the community controls. So whether that's reviews, there's a lot of work or identification being done, and a lot of the LLMs, these are the large language models, ChatGPT, those sorts of things. They use different sources. So you've even got to go down into the sources of information where they're getting that from, and some of them are quite weird, like Foursquare. They target Foursquare, right, and those sorts of
Well,
things. I'm not. Yeah,
Yellow Pages. I
I know.
saw I
Yeah,
was in a meeting just last week talking about this exact thing.
yeah,
Yellowpages.com. I'm like, does that even exist? Like what?
yeah, yeah. So I mean, and this is the sort of Wild West front, right? This is exactly where we were with the internet many years ago, which is they're crawling sort of sites, now elements that you didn't really realize. So I would recommend operators really start targeting that because, as we said, over 50% of research of the finding is done through these. So it's about optimizing your website, but also making sure your reviews are up to scene and getting your community into those community spaces where it's trawling.
And and to that end, it's not just, well, I updated it on my website and my Facebook page, I'm good. Like if I change the hours, or
Mm,
we're gonna start a membership loyalty program. We put information out on our website and on our Facebook page, we're good.
mm.
That you're not good,
No,
right?
no,
There's
no.
there's so many more
There's so
locations.
much more to be done on that, and in our pulse survey, right, we had 69% feel comfortable using AI to book tickets. So this is where we asked, try to delve into the trust factor. How much do you trust in your LLM to really sort of pull the right information for you? So 69% is a pretty big stat, and that. I was just come back also from a large conference in New Zealand, which is where I'm from. I went home just for this conference. It's web and travel, and they said, yeah, there's over 50%. So it reflected the stat that we've got. Over 50% are using it for research, but only 1.5% of AI searches resulted in a booking on that travel side of things, right? So you can see what they've been used for. There's the trend.
Right. Like why the disconnect of
Yeah. Well,
I'm
that's
getting the information, but
mm,
I'm not letting Claude book my
correct.
tickets. I'm going to book it myself, but I'm going to see the information that it's presenting me.
Exactly. So again, that trust factor, but also the LLMs haven't geared up for transaction. All right. So it's very difficult, particularly now attractions, travel, space. It's quite a complex way, to transact on, and the payment gateways haven't geared up for it. But that says to me, it's coming. Right. So if I was an attraction operator today, I'd be trying to look at, okay, how do I appear in these LLMs? So look at GEO, and also, how do I appear in the Google search? If you go now into Google now, and sort of an AI summary comes up the top, right? That's again looking at a very different sort of data set, and that's called AEO. And really, how do you optimize for that? So it's gotten a little bit more complex for us operators. We've got all these things going on at the moment, but at the end of the day, if I was an operator, is just make sure you're digital ready. If you've got a platform like Roller or any other platform, we're doing that hard, heavy lifting of making sure we're agentic ready and we're agentic commerce ready. So when it comes to the booking side of things, you've already got a platform in place to take advantage of that.
Yeah. And and something that I feel compelled to ask. So, can AI then replace your front desk, your everything, just do everything through an AI agent so
Mhm.
that you can have fewer employees in your location?
Yeah, that's a great question, Denise. I don't think so. And actually, I know so. I'm on the IAPA 2035 task force. So we're looking at how attractions will look in 10 years, what will be the trends. And one of the biggest is called future forces. We have a number of them, and the report's coming out in September. Is that one of the future forces is the human touch or unique human touch. It will become irreplaceable in attractions and become the premium differentiator, right? So that says to me that, right, AI can do the mundane sort of back of house thing like technology plays today, sort of makes the booking, does the transaction, et cetera, et cetera. But when you want to escalate things, so if you want to, talk to someone, I think, you really need to talk to a human. So escalate it to a
Mhm.
human, and then that provides an engaging attraction, becomes part of the reason why they come and visit you.
Yeah. Well, and to that point, I think we've all been in a situation where we're calling or seeking for some information, and you get the bot. I'm okay with that if it's some basic stuff, but if I need to talk to a person, I want to talk to a person, and I don't want to have to go through 5 minutes of a roundabout with the AI agent to get me to a human being. And so,
Totally.
and that's reflected. It was nice to see this reflected in your data as well, that 84% say it is very or extremely important that AI can escalate them to a human if they need to talk to a real human.
Absolutely. There's the proof in the pudding, right? People are feeling that now and they're going to feel it in 10 years' time, what our IAPA report shows. So humans are important in the flow.
Yeah. So, um, let me just ask if not, the operators that are watching or listening right now,
Mhm.
if they could take only one action around AI, what would you suggest it be?
The one action is really look at how you appear in the results from the large language models in particular, but also then go into Google and how you appear, if you appear at all, in their AI summary or AEO. And if you're not appearing or you're not sort of doing surfacing at the right place, really start to look into doing some work there, because that's super important. Is make sure that you appear in those results, and you still, because it is, everyone does their research online. It's a must. You must play in this space. So really get on board with that. And then, the other thing is really is, and you can get an expert in to come and do that for you, or you can do it and go and learn. It's actually not that hard to understand how it's all picked up online these days. There's plenty of information out there. Maybe even use your AI to try and figure out how you can figure out that one.
That's exactly right. Okay, well, same question then for operators. If they could do one thing about a loyalty program, what is your top advice based on this pulse result report?
Put one in. Put one in. Don't be afraid to put one in and test it out. I mean, it's sometimes people think, oh my lord, it's a leap of faith that I need to. And we've got some amazing. So Roller, we've got the loyalty application in there. It's been built by experts in the loyalty space. So we've got some wonderful training materials, and I think they're all available publicly as well. So you can find out how to build the best loyalty program for yourself. But the first one is give it a go, okay? And you can put it in place and test and iterate, and then evolve the program in 6 months' time to make sure that you're hitting the right things. But my number one is give it a go. And that stat around members not having any program or join, that leverage that. People aren't using it today, and they should be. So put one in, and hopefully you can take advantage of that.
And make it simple. Don't overcomplicate it, right?
Yes, yes. I'm all about simple stuff, Denise. I really am. I just sort of, some people can overthink it, and sometimes that can sort of put you in an inaction mode. Do
Yeah.
something but simple.
Okay, well, listen, Brett, we are coming to the end of our time. This has been so enlightening, and I cannot stress enough how fantastic the pulse report is.
Mm.
So how can people, other than there'll be a link in this, right, in the comment section, but other
Mhm.
than that, how can people find and get the pulse report and look at it themselves? Because there's a
Yeah.
whole bunch of other stuff in there that we didn't even get to talk about.
Yeah, there really is. There's so many stats, and along with our benchmark report, where we've looked at the data in our platform. So those two reports are available on roller.software. On the platform, they're publicly available. Anyone can access them, and we produce those every year. So the next benchmark is coming up, I think, in November. Again, that's taking the data out of our platform, aggregating it, and giving you some insights. And the beauty about that is we delve down to your particular vertical and your particular geolocation. So you're not just dealing with global data, you're dealing with, okay, I'm in trampoline parks. Okay, this is my FE. I want to understand what's happening in the US in that space. So watch out for those two reports, and I'm sure they'll help you out at some state.
Fantastic. Brett, how can people learn more about Roller and what they do?
Yeah, we're online. It's roller.software. But also follow me on LinkedIn. I always put up some amazing stuff. Brett Sheridan, You'll find me somewhere. That I don't think there's a few actually Brett Sheridans. I didn't realize that till recently. The, but Brett Sheridan from Down Under, and the key thing there is that we make Enroller. A lot of this information is all available free. It doesn't matter whether you're on the platform or not. The website has so many insights. I have a lot of articles. I do my own webinars, Denise. The attraction toolkit, which really delves into how do I take action, really of of certain aspects, and we interview experts to do that. So a whole range of things, Denise, that you can find information, and please, roller.software is the one source.
Fantastic. Well, Brett, thank you so much. I appreciate this and all of this information. And there's some really immediate action points that people can take if they haven't done a loyalty program. You've given a lot of ideas of how to craft one, but also with AI, if you haven't started to mess with it, you best. And really, I have to underscore the see how you're out there in AI. See what your business is saying because I did this exercise with one of my clients that I work with just a
Mm.
few weeks ago, and the hours of operation were different in like 15 different locations.
I know.
And that of course AI is pulling from.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, that's a problem, guys. We gotta
So
figure that out.
It so is actually that's a really good point, Denise. You might have an old page on your website somewhere, and it pulls out. I had it my same when I was looking to travel overseas with the family, pulled up the wrong opening hours. Yeah, making sure your information's up to date is probably number one after just doing something. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
right.
And that knowing that it's not just pulling it from your website.
Yes, correct.
It could be
Super
pulling
important.
it from something that's super, super old
Yep.
and,
Yep.
so that's the key. So check it out, everybody, if you haven't
Awesome.
already. Well, Brett, thank you so much for your time and your knowledge. And I'm looking forward to our next conversation. I'm going to go ahead and make you declare that we'll be doing this again in November when we have the bench report. Yeah,
That'd be great. Yeah,
perfect.
awesome. Thank you, Denise. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, we hope today's conversation has given you some practical tools to help you sharpen your edge and accelerate your growth. If you're ready to grow your team, your business, or yourself, contact us at thegrowthprogroup.com and set up a free growth call with one of our coaches. Once again, a special thanks to our sponsors, Embed, Party Center Software, NA Global, Betson, Simnox, Schaefer, and Roller for all that they do to help us bring you the Growth Pro Edge. And until next time, I'm Denise Killian with the Growth Pro Group. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep striving for the extraordinary.